Testosterone is important in both women and men, even though many doctors think it's only a man's thing. Not so. And the very curious thing is, in this day and age, is that many young men in their mid-30s or higher are very low on testosterone. No obvious reason. They didn't use steroids years ago. They didn't have an injury to their testicles or had radiation or surgery on the urogenital area or had an undescended testicles. These are all extremely rare. What you normally see, 95 out of 100, is a person who is perfectly healthy in every way. He eats right, he exercises, he doesn't drink excessively, he is not on drugs, and yet the poor guy, his quality of life is zilch. And of course the girlfriend or the wife, it gets to be a problem because he doesn't have a desire, so she's thinking maybe he's screwing around outside. In fact, I've came across a couple of people that went through a divorce. And one of them right here in, one of the officials in the Ventura City Hall, the woman started screwing around because she thought the man must be doing the same, so why shouldn't she? No, the guy had low testosterone, he's 45, and he came to us about 3 years ago. So it happens for no obvious reason in most people. Although recently, a couple of people who are experts on children was on the regular news about just 3 days ago. A very old guy who was a pediatric urologist and also an old woman who is an expert on that subject. And both of them were saying probably presence of phthalates has something to do with, you see, there's a whole new discipline now in endocrinology which is called endocrine disruptors. In other words, chemicals that interfere with production of hormones and also neurotransmitters that are the chemicals that the brain needs to communicate with the various parts of the brain. And they're already suspecting many of the things that we all have traces of. For example, phthalates are in the IV bottles that people use in the hospital. They're in many of the toys, so children get phthalates. Shower curtains has a lot of phthalates. It's a very useful product to make things soft, but it's a chemical that comes out and you get some of it in your system. So the urology guy is saying, you know, I am seeing now, compared to say 30 years ago, a lot more hypospadias and undescended testicles in children. 3 times as many. And he was suspecting that maybe the phthalates is the cause. Of course, these things you cannot prove it 100%. And the woman then said, talking on the same subject, she said that's probably the reason why many young men today are low on testosterone. I mean, that doesn't make it 100% evidence, but it's something to think about. Because when you see someone as healthy as can be, and yet he is low on testosterone, and of course many functions are not as good as they used to be, and you say, why is this happening? Okay, testosterone in men is a little different in women. Has to do with sex, desire, performance. Also stimulating bone marrow, so your blood count rises and hemoglobin rises. And help you, just like growth hormone, help you make muscle and lose fat if you're eating right and exercising. But then it gets very critical about brain functions on testosterone. Short-term memory, mood, motivation, sharpness, and an antidepressant effect is all testosterone. So interestingly, this guy who's married to a model from New York, in fact they were just here last week getting Botox, because whenever they come down, which is 3 times a year, they always come in for Botox injections. A year ago he called me and said, you know, my doctor put me on Lexapro, antidepressant. I said, oh my God, why? This is why he thinks I'm like a little bit, down. And so then I said, how's your sex life? He said, oh, it's awesome. It has been no change. And the doctor, of course, said, oh, your sex is fine. It couldn't be testosterone. Because a regular doctor doesn't know much about this stuff.